Hey guys, so first time using this. We are setting up our new studio here and we're going to cover all different subjects. Today, I thought I would go for one that I get a lot of conversation about, which is service dog, therapy dog, emotional support animal. What's the difference? I get a lot of people call me up saying, I really want my dog to be a service dog. And when I ask questions, it's not what they were looking for. Or sometimes they don't understand the definition. So I thought this would be a great topic to cover here. Um, Easiest way to look at it is through our chart here. So when you go through this chart, obviously we've got service dogs, therapy dogs, emotional support animals. So what's the difference on this whole thing here, right? So, well, first off, the difference is how the American with Disability Acts look at this stuff. So a service dog is a dog that assists with daily living activities for somebody who has a disability covered by the ADA. So common questions, or the only question they should ever be asking if you are trying to go into a restaurant or do whatever is, do you have a disability that is covered by the ADD? The ADA that would also allow you to have a service animal. And does this dog perform a task that helps you with your disability? That's it. They're not allowed to ask you what your disability is, what task they do, but a lot of people don't understand that. Now, that is the right to bring them into public places. All right. So now, before I even go any further, the right to bring your service dog, your therapy dog, whatever it is, doesn't matter about the legal designation if your dog is not well trained. All right. So you have a seeing eye dog that steals everybody food, bites people, pees on tables. They're not going to be a service dog for very long, but they can ask you to leave. That's it. Right. So they do not have to allow you access if your dog is not performing in a way that's expected for durable medical equipment. We know it's a dog, but they should be trained that they're not stealing food and doing those things. All right. As compared to a therapy dog has no right to access. A therapy dog is a dog that gives and receives affection freely. All right. And the access that they get is by request. A hospital says, yes, please bring your therapy dog in. A nursing home, a school, whatever these are. And those dogs are expected to act at a very similar or same level as those service animals, but they're not performing service tasks. Now, most people who have a therapy dog, it's never even a question. People haven't seen it. Where people get really confused is in the emotional support animals. So emotional support animals are not protected under the ADA. As far as right to access on airplanes, on restaurants, and so forth. They are essentially like a comfortable blanket, right? They are expected to give comfort to the owners in those situations. However, they're not supposed to give comfort to those situations if they're, again, biting people, peeing on the table, stealing food, and those things. So they need to be really neutral. Now, that policy, and it depends on state to state, but that has more to do with housing and urban development. Are you allowed to have this dog in this situation? So they can't be a nuisance to your neighbors. They can't bark all day long, right? Same thing on a plane. But other than that, they're not expected to perform any service task. They're tied to your emotional needs or your child's emotional needs. And that's something that a doctor would designate on this one. Now, anywhere outside of a housing situation is courtesy. The airlines do it as a courtesy. Anybody else will let you in, but there is no legal requirement that they allow you on. Now, the airlines have had to deal with a lot of people with fake therapy dogs, fake service dogs. The big problem with a lot of that is they'll show up with a card or a certificate. None of that is real. I'll just tell you right now, if you go on and you're looking up, and this person says, your website says, give me $100 and you can have a service dog and you never have to pay to fly your dog or put them under the plane or whatever. Service dog IDs, obviously you could buy an ID for your dog, but as far as a registry or official designation, all of that's fake. All right. Now, sometimes it makes it easier. You have a legit service dog, a legit ESA, and it's easier than explaining. They go, oh, look, an ID, all the information's on there. Great, right? However, right, other people go, hey, I know you're fake because you're showing me this ID because it doesn't exist. So be smart about that stuff. Now, the requirements to have these animals as far as their care and training is very similar. As far as what they get access to is really where the difference is. So when you look on here, we've got, right to public access. The dogs need to be able to tolerate all different types of environments. They need to deal with noises and dogs and smells and what have you, and be neutral, right? They can't cause a problem in there. So that's again where you get down to that next one here is like may live with their disabled owners, even if there's a no pet policy in place. So in housing, you have an emotional support animal that is covered. There's a little bit more to it, and you'll have to deal with your own. I'm not a lawyer, but there is requirements, and for the landlords, requirements for the owners to make that possible. All right. But again, when we get down to what is their function, so a service dog helps somebody with a disability. All right. That's a lot of training. They have to have solid obedience. They have to be reliable in certain circumstances, in every circumstances, I should say. And they serve a purpose. They help with a disability. A therapy dog gives comfort and joy to people. There's no legal requirement to let them in. The certification is about getting your dog to a level in obedience where an insurance company will say, fine, I'll put a policy under this dog. When they go in, if something happens, I'll cover it. But they're trusting an evaluator like me to help you figure out if your dog is safe to have in those environments. That's it, right? So when I certify a dog as a therapy dog, that allows you to go to a nursing home and saying, hey, can I bring my therapy dog in? Period. And they go, well, how do I know your dog's trained or insured or safe? They go, well, here's his card, here's his certificate, whatever. With our emotional support animals, every place has a little bit different. Landlord will ask for a letter from your doctor, whereas the airlines now have come up with some of their own requirements, hoops to jump through to stop the fakes from coming in. Even if you're totally legit, remember that if your dog's not behaving, they can ask you to leave or not allow you on the plane. If there's too many dogs, again, it's a courtesy. So service dogs are going to get priority and they can't have 1 million dogs on the plane. So you could wind up getting bumped and you really shouldn't be indignant about it. Heck, if you're with a service dog and you don't notify them ahead of time and there's no space, they can even bump you from that flight, which is why almost all airlines have a service dog desk where you go and register your dog. They assist you with everything and you'd upload any paperwork or any documentation, show your dog's been trained, whatever, right? Make your life easier when you travel. Now, when we get into it, we say, well, what's their primary function? All right. Well, that emotional support animal, as I said, is like a teddy bear. All right. It makes you comfortable in a situation that's tough. Maybe you're scared of flying, scared of large crowds, and the dog can help you with that. So the only training that is required is that they perform to a level of obedience that doesn't cause a nuisance situation for the people that are around them. All right. Now, the other side of it is the dogs are specifically trained as a service animal for that person. So you can't borrow a dog. Now, if you're a therapy dog handler and your insurance allows for it, that therapy dog can be with multiple handlers and still be covered. Whereas the emotional support animal has nothing to do with anybody except for your emotional state. So you're the only person that can take that emotional support animal into wherever, right? The housing, whatever, and they're supposed to be with you. Now, again, this just comes down to what their purpose. Then you will see people who have therapy dogs who are service dogs, right? Or vice versa. An emotional support animal generally is just that. They might have an emotional support animal who's a therapy dog because the training is very similar. We want to have reliable, consistent obedience in real-time distractions. What does that have to do with us or whatever? Well, I am an evaluator. Sit means sit. We have 2 different therapy teams across the nation, the GO team and Canine Caring Angels. And the goal between everything that we're doing is to go out and provide emotional support or happiness and whatever in nursing homes. We have multiple dogs that are placed now in high schools. We have a dog that's full-time at Somers High School, a dog that's full-time at Graham Greenberg School District. We have dogs that are in police departments. And then we have like a regular engagement at Manhattanville College and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, you find therapy that works for you. All of our dogs, we believe that can become therapy dogs as long as they like people, right? They have to give and receive affection. And they all need the same foundational training. So when people call me up and say, I'd love to have a therapy dog, or I need an emotional support animal, or I need a service dog, can help you with all of those. We do not do service dog training. There is an emotional support training. But what we do help with is that foundational, right, obedience that allows them to be welcome wherever you want to bring them, which is what you need for all of those, but especially with our therapy dogs, because we won't be invited back unless we're making everybody happy and we're not causing a nuisance in doing those. So if you're interested in finding out more about having a therapy dog and how we can help, please give us a call. Just drop by our website, click on a link right below. You can send us a message through Facebook Messenger or YouTube Messenger or wherever you're viewing this, and we can talk to you about what the future looks like for it. We donate our time in training our service dog, in our therapy dogs, right? And they get certified and insured, and that just becomes part of what we do. So everybody starts with the same basic training, and we build up to get you to be therapy dogs. So again, I'm Neil. It's Sit Me and Sit. Our therapy dog team is the Canine Caring Angels of the Hudson Valley, and we'd love to have you join us. Any questions, just drop them in the comments below. Talk to you soon. And of course, I'm trying to get this to turn off. See what happens when I use this for the first time? So anybody who's still with me here, please bear with me as I'm figuring out where the switches are. There we go. Let's do this one here. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm out of here.